Some people jump on. Maybe. Yay! Thought no one was going to come on since I changed time tonight. How are you doing, Melissa? I wonder why. Don't think I did anything different. Melissa, can you see me? Or can you just hear me? May not want to see me. My nose is kind of red tonight. I have yucky sinus stuff going on for some reason. Can you hear me, Melissa? I mean, can you see me, Melissa? Heather, hey, can you see me? Jennifer said she can see me. I mean, she can hear me, but she can't see me. Anyone? Is it any better yet? Okay. Can now. I have no clue, unless maybe it's my signal or something, because I didn't do anything differently. So, I don't know. Let me see. And now you can't hear me. Yeah, that is strange. Well, I mean, like I said, I didn't do anything different. Last time this happened, I just went ahead and talked, and then afterward it was there. So maybe I'll try that again. And if you have to go back and watch the recording, you can go back and watch the recording. Melissa, it looks like it's still just you and me. But anyway, that's great. We'll just do this. It's kind of awkward talking about Friends. We only have 1 or 2 people that are able to see it tonight. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just get started. And like I said, tonight's about Friends. Okay, good, yay. Tonight's about Friends, and like I said earlier, I'm kind of stuffy, and so if my eyes look red and my nose looks red, that's why. Hopefully it will go away soon. But I'm going to try not to sniff and be yucky while I'm talking. So anyway, tonight is Freedom for Big Girlfriends. And I'm going to actually go ahead and set my timer because I don't want to keep you guys. I've been keeping it a little bit longer. And if we don't get through it, then I'm going to quit trying to rush and we'll just take this in a two-part chapter. So anyway, she starts off talking about how, you know, little girls, like literal little girls, like young girls do friendships, and how you can be best friends at one point and then, you know, all of a sudden it's like, okay, hey, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And I don't know if y'all can hear that. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. I had a little distraction and I made it go away. So anyway, she talks about a story when she was little, and she had a friend that, you know, they were like best friends. They were always together. And then all of a sudden one day her friend was like, you know, oh, by the way, I can't be your friend anymore. And basically she just told her because she was too bubbly, because she was too friendly. And and then that was the end of the friendship. And she said that because of that, you know, it kind of started her process. And she said, I had to learn that friendships are very special, and simply sharing some things in common with another person does not make you true friends. Said I made, that along the way, as far as being friends, she said, I made huge mistakes just because I didn't know how to be a good friend. like how to be a good friend. The saving grace was that I learned. And that's what sets apart big girls and little girls. It isn't that the big girls don't make mistakes, which we've said that this whole time. She said they surely do, but they don't keep making the same mistakes, getting burned and burning others in friendships. They learn what they need to learn, and then they apply it. And that's, as we've said, I feel like a broken record on a lot of this, but that's the key to being a big girl, is that when you do mess up, you learn from it, and you don't keep doing the same silly things over and over. And you know, she talks about, you know, little girls. She said that they've never learned the value of a strong bond between women, and that's a huge key. Is if we continue to be friends like we are when we're little, and we carry that into adulthood, then we're missing out on so much. Little girls, like she said, they don't realize the value of a friendship, and so they don't feed into it, or they don't invest in their friendships the way that they need to. Big girls realize that how important friends are. It says friendship is such a special relationship that, you know, Jesus even talked to his disciples, and he said, you know, I consider you my friends, because, and those were the people that were the closest to him, like those were his boys, you know, that was his group, that was the people that he chose to be around, and he told them, I consider you my friends. You know, you're not here because I just want you to work for me. You're not here because I need you to do things. You're here because I want you here. I want that relationship. It says Jesus placed a high value on real friendships, and so should we. And that's the key there, is the word real. You know, it's not a relationship out of convenience. It's not a relationship out of, you know, oh, this will look good if we, you know, if I'm this person's friend or whatever. It's a real friendship. It's a real relationship where you actually invest in it, and you spend time, and you care about the person. And she does point out, and I hadn't even thought about this before, but friendship is a voluntary relationship, and it's really the only voluntary relationship that we have. You know, there are no laws to keep friends together, and I think that's also part of what makes friendship so special, is that you're choosing, you know, we're choosing to stay together and spend time together, because no one's making us. We just actually like each other enough that we want to be friends. It says, time and distance may come between you, but if you are truly big girl friends, the following blessings of your friendship will only become richer. And that's true. And honestly, my closest friends that I have are the farthest away from me. And something that I'm realizing more and more now that I've lost my built-in little friend, or I haven't lost her, but I've lost a lot of her time, because she's driving now and doing her own thing, and now I'm in the time where I wait for her to come back. And she will, because we have that relationship. And I've seen it with Matt. But she even looked at me the other day and she was like, Mom, you really need to get some friends, because I don't want you here by yourself all the time. And I'm like, thanks. Appreciate it. But honestly, you know, when I stop to, you know, there's something I need to share with somebody, or I'm excited about something, or I have a question, or I need someone to pray, I go to my phone and I text. And that's one thing that's really, really amazing. You know, we're going to talk at one point about the right way to handle social media, and the right way to handle, you know, just this instant access that we have on our phones. But for me, it's been a huge blessing, because we have lived different places, and I've built these friendships that I don't want to lose just because we moved. And so, you know, don't feel like just because your life, you know, if you do find yourself in a position where you're going to have to move, or you're going to have some kind of a change, don't feel like you have to just completely lose everything that you already have as far as what you've invested in friendships. Because honestly, still my best friends are in Florida and in Kentucky and Greers Ferry, Arkansas, which is, you know, hour and a half away from me. The thing about friendship is, if it's a true friend, the distance doesn't matter. And anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I will get to that in a little bit. And like I said earlier, if you're just now tuning in, I have some sinus stuff going on, so I apologize that I'm coughing and trying not to sniff. So, big girl friends say what they mean and mean what they say. It says you can count on the big girl friend. She doesn't waffle back and forth between feelings and facts. You will never have to wonder if she has an ulterior motive. You never have to guess whether she's upset with you or if she didn't like what you said the last time you were together. It says big girl friends understand that the words that pass between them are critical. And using healthy words that speak something is what big girls do. I actually have a friend that's in Kentucky, and she's one of those that we hit it off pretty quickly, and we just enjoyed each other's company. And then we had a situation, and honestly, I don't remember which side it was on. I don't even know what happened, but I know that there was a situation that things just kind of felt kind of weird. And because we cared about each other, instead of just drifting apart and doing something else, we started talking about it. And we both had misread the other person and thought, we thought each other was upset with something that was said or something that was done. And we actually cared enough about each other that we literally had the conversation of, okay, look, we have enough friends or people that are in our lives that we have to worry about what we say, when we say it, how they're going to take it and all that. And we basically made a pact that day that we weren't going to do that to each other, that we were going to not read into things. We were, if we ever had a problem, we promised to tell the other person. So that way we didn't have to, worry, well, did I hurt her feelings, whatever. We promised that, if we said something and it came out weird or uncomfortable or whatever, the other person would just say, is that what you meant? Because that's how I took it. And honestly, she's one of the ones that I was talking about when I said some of my best friends don't live here or live anywhere close to me. We're still in touch, and it's been, over 10 years since I've actually lived there. Literally have physically seen her once since then, but she still is a very, very close friend to me, and we still text. And it's one of those relationships that, we don't have to text all the time, but when we do, it's like, okay, cool. We cherish the time that we're together instead of worrying about the time that we're apart. And so if there's someone that you care about and you realize that you're going through those situations, okay, these silly mosquitoes followed me in the house too. Go ahead and have that conversation. Have that hard conversation of, I don't like being around people that I have to worry if, am I saying that the right way? Are they going to be offended? Did they take it wrong? I want to be around people that just easier than that. And hopefully I'm that way. And I have to catch myself sometimes. Don't read into what people say. Take it at face value. Know their heart, and don't let mind tricks, steal a friendship that you possibly could have. But she's probably one of the healthiest friendships that I have, and it's because we were willing to have those discussions. Yeah, Jennifer, that's right. People that get you. I want to be around people that get me, that I don't have to. There have been so many people over the years, and maybe part of it is because of being the whole pastor's wife thing, but I guess I can say this out loud. There have been instances where people have tried to spend time with me or be close to me, and they get frustrated. You're not going to hit it off with everyone. You're not going to have a personality that absolutely clicks with everyone. You still have to be nice, you have to be loving or whatever, but don't feel pressure to be everyone's friend, because some people feel like they need to be your friend, but if you were in a different situation or a different position, and let me back up. That's kind of where I would go with a few people is, if I wasn't the pastor's wife, would you feel pressure to, would you even want to hang out with me? And it's okay to not have to be intimately close with everyone that you meet. You can still be friends, you can still hang out, but don't put the pressure on yourself to have to be liked by everyone. Yes, again, be nice to everyone, act the way God wants you to act, but don't stress out if someone doesn't like you, as long as you haven't caused it. You haven't done something ugly to them or whatever. So anyway, that's just free, I guess. Don't know where that came from. But let's see. It says, back to the fact that big girlfriends use healthy words to speak. There's the scripture in the Bible in Ephesians chapter 4. And it's one of the scriptures. This is a different version than what I do, but I have scriptures that I basically pray some scriptures every morning. And one of them talks about the words that come out of your mouth and, thinking on good things. But it says, the way that this states it, it says to use words only as they are good and beneficial to the spiritual progress of others. Be a blessing and give grace. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God. And that's something that, if we can think about the words that we're saying and make sure that we are being loving, and it talks about if you're one of those people that's like, man, I don't have any friends, I don't know how to make friends. There is a scripture that says you have to show yourself friendly. And again, I don't want you to be someone that you're not, but you have to open up yourself a little bit. And that could mean you're opening yourself up to be hurt, but it also could mean you're opening up yourself to have some amazing relationships if you'll give yourself a chance. It says, big girls respect one another too much to let grouchy, mindless words be spoken. You will never hear a big girl saying, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I just had to get it off my chest. That's not the kind of thing that we're talking about. And, as I was reading that, it kind of convicted me too that a lot of times I think we're more careful with what we say and how we treat our friends than our family, because we let our guard down when we're at home. These people are going to love us anyway. And I think sometimes we take advantage of that. So be careful not to do that. Make sure that you're treating your family better than people that aren't your family, because it's your family and it's important. So I guess this is affecting my chest too, because I'm taking big breaths. Anyway, so maybe pray for me for a second. Big girl friends know how to go to one another with love and kindness if a problem arises between them. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Things just weren't right, and so we addressed it instead of dancing around it or avoiding each other or whatever. And like I said, it wasn't even, I don't have a clue what was said or what happened, so it wasn't that important. But what was important was the fact that, there was some kind of weird perception there, and so we worked through it. Let's see, Proverbs 25, and this is the Message version, says, the right word at the right time is like a custom-made piece of jewelry, and a wise friend's timely reprimand is like a gold ring slipped on your finger. And this is basically talking about holding each other accountable. Say right things, say loving things. It doesn't mean that you have to gloss over everything. It doesn't mean you have to ignore, if something's not right. But if you're going to address something, just like Tommy was talking about with conflict, I think last Wednesday night, don't have confrontations, but have conversations. You don't have to act like things aren't wrong, or you don't have to act like things haven't happened. But if you'll go into it with the goal of restoration, as opposed to proving you're right or proving your point or proving them wrong, then you're going to get a lot further. Especially if it's a friendship, it's someone that you should care about. So we have to be careful how we talk to them. And she was talking about two friends in here, and basically the point of it was, it was something that was just, it wasn't a big deal. I guess it was two roommates, and basically they had an issue, and it said, basically it says that she loved Jen too much to make a huge issue, but she knew that good boundaries kept good friendships healthy. And what it was simply they were roommates. One of them was kind of the carefree, hey, anything goes, I'm happy, what's yours is mine, what's mine's yours, kind of a thing. And then the other one had, she would buy special things and put them in their fridge for when they had friends come over. Well, the second roommate, if she wanted it, she'd just eat it and whatever. The first one didn't mind that she did that, but then the things were gone, when it was time for someone to come over. And instead of letting it grow and bother her, she just talked to her about it. And the second one was like, oh, no big deal. I'll just stop. Thanks for talking to me. I didn't realize it was important to you. So a lot of times it's just communication. Don't let things build up. Go ahead and just talk and get it over with. And if your friendship can't survive that, there's something else going on in the friendship. So, don't be afraid to do that. Again, just go in love. And if it's someone you care about, you're going to work it out. It says, if either of these women were little girls, then this situation would have been a festering sore between them. But because they valued clear communication and respected one another, the issue was dealt with and they were better off for it. If a big girl needs to say something, she will say it, but it will be expressed with dignity, kindness, and respect. And that's the thing. It's just how we talk. Make sure you have the conversation, and make sure that you have the conversation in love. says, life is too short to keep nursing a problem between really good friends. She also points out, too, though, it takes 2 big girlfriends for this to work. And if your friend is a big girlfriend also, then once it's dealt with, you move on and you keep going. So, and that's, it's really important to be careful about who you let intimately into your life. Like I said earlier, you can have friends, you can have relationships, but the people that you're going to be close to, make sure that those are people that need to be in your life, people that can hold you accountable, people that have, I'm going to talk about differences in a little while, but make sure that ultimately you're on the same track, you're on the same path, so that you're helping each other and not fighting against each other, with such strong different views or whatever. And again, I'm kind of all over the place tonight, but thinking of things as we go, so they're just kind of coming out. So, the next section is big girlfriends are trustworthy. It says there's nothing worse than having to watch your back or wondering whether you can trust someone you call friend. If you want to be a big girlfriend, then you have to choose to protect your friend's privacy and dignity for always. And it says sometimes that means keeping your mouth shut about something that you know about your friend, even if you think it's harmless. And I love this, so I'm going to read this. It says you might find yourself in a group where others seem to know all about the issue, but out of respect for your friend, you still keep quiet. Your friend's business is not everyone else's business. Even if people think that they know something, you don't have to add to their conversation. And I'm going to take that a step further and say that if you do, it's gossip. And, we've talked about gossip is one of those things that can keep you out of heaven if that's something that you continually practice. It's not my opinion, that's found in Galatians. When it talks about things that will keep you out of heaven, gossip is in there. And I know that sometimes it's easy to get sucked into conversations, especially like she said, if it's a conversation where people seem to know what's going on, then that kind of gives you a safety. It's a false safety, but it gives you a safety where you feel like it's okay to talk about it. But if it's not your issue, your personal, if it doesn't affect you personally, then it's not something for you to say and for you to add to. So make sure that you don't get sucked into that. I think it's part of that whole relational part of us that we want to be, we're built, we reflect the relational side of God. When we're made in His image, a lot of times we're the ones that are the emotional, the relational part. And so it's easy to get sucked into that, and that's where Satan can come in and absolutely divide us. And we just need to protect against that. And I think probably everyone has heard this, but just as a reminder, if someone's willing to talk to you about someone else, no matter what they say, they're willing to talk about you to someone else. So if you have one of those, friends that's like, gosh, I've got to tell you this. I know this, and I know you won't tell anyone, so I'm going to tell you. Go ahead and stop it, because that's not something that you want to know. But make note that if they're willing to do that, that's eventually something they may trust someone else with about you. So, the next section is big girl friends guard each other with truth. Friends don't let friends do foolish things without speaking up. It's one of the good things about being a friend. It gives you the right to express concerns, and if your friend is truly a big girl, she will want to hear from you. And that's true. And that, again, make sure that if you're going to talk to someone about an issue that you see in their life or something that you just feel is important that they need to know, make sure that you have the right to speak into their life, because there's really nothing worse than someone coming and talking to you that you don't have that relationship with, and you don't know that they already love you, because if you're on the receiving end of that, it makes you really uncomfortable, and it makes you very skeptical, and what they could be saying may be absolutely dead on. But if you haven't, invested in that relationship already and given them permission to speak into your life, it's just not worth it. And so on the reverse, you can push someone away. You can cause someone to almost have a harder time if you try to insert yourself into their life in a role that they haven't given you permission to. So, make sure that if you're going to talk to someone about something that is that important, that you're helping guide them or whatever, make sure that you have the right to, because they may not want to hear it from you, and it may make things worse and you're just going to seem like a busybody at that point, which is another thing that's in Galatians, right in there with the whole gossip stuff and the murder and all that. It's that important. It says, big girlfriends can be trusted to call you into accountability if you stray too far off the path, and they will love you anyway, and that's the key. If you feel the need to, I guess, confront someone or talk to someone about an issue, are you wanting them to be better? You know, do you really love them? Even if they don't change, do you love them? Do you love them in spite of that? Because if you don't, then you're not in the right mind frame to go ahead and talk to them. And this is another huge one. It says big girls don't gang up on one another. And that's true. You know, don't go to 2 or 3 friends and say, look, I don't know if you've noticed, but she's been doing this and I don't think it's right. And again, you're getting into gossip. We learn how to deal with conflict in Matthew, and it talks about just between you and them. So, you know, don't go get your friends and, you know, and a lot of times people will do it, you know, under the guise of, well, you know, I need to make sure that I'm on the right track, or I need your opinion before I do this or whatever. The only opinion you need is God's opinion. If you pray about it, if you get a peace about it, then do it. If you don't get a peace about it, then keep your mouth shut and stay out of it. It's absolutely that simple. So, anyway, big girlfriends don't gang up on each other. It says, when a friend loves you and you know it, she can be your best encourager to do what is right and good. Sometimes girlfriends can do that when relatives fail, and that's a good point. Sometimes we can take it from someone outside of our own home. Sometimes, let's see. Often they have too much baggage and are too close to the situation, talking about the family. It says a friend, on the other hand, is a relationship of choice, like we talked about earlier. This is someone that you're choosing to be in relationship with. Nothing is holding you together other than the fact that you love each other. If a friendship is healthy and in good repair, who better to say what you need to hear than your friends? And another note that I wrote here with this is, if you do have to talk to someone or you feel like you need to talk to someone about something, make sure that you're not just giving your opinion. Just because someone does something different than you doesn't mean that it's wrong. And so make sure it's not just your opinion, but it's something that actually basically keep them out of heaven or keep them from growing. If it's like a character issue or whatever, just make sure it's not your opinion and not something that is comfortable for you that may not be comfortable for someone else. Because then you're not being a very good friend if that's what you're doing. So let me see what we're doing on time. Okay. We'll probably get through one more section, and then we will, or maybe 2, and then we'll hold off until next time. It says, big girls share their friends with friends, and I love this. It says, big girls don't play the possessive game. And she talks about how, she has this one really good friend, and then she met this new person, and she wanted them to meet. And she said, my interest in her, she wanted them to spend time together, and they did. And it says, but my interest in her will never diminish my friendship with the woman who introduced us. It can only make all of our friendships richer. Jealousy is an obvious enemy that quickly darkens the brightness of a friendship. So make sure, there are going to be times, if you have more than one friend, there are going to be times that maybe they do stuff without you for whatever reason. Again, don't let the enemy attack your mind and make you, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I get invited? You don't know the situation. Maybe it's something that they knew you couldn't do, or maybe it's something they knew that you would hate to do. Just don't do that. Don't play games with your friends. Don't play games with your mind. And just realize you're still friends. That's a little girl thing to do. And that's real easy for us to get our feelings hurt and to feel like, we're being left out or whatever, but that's not what friendship is about. And she points out too that unless there's freedom in a relationship, the relationship is not authentic. And that's absolutely true. It says, big girls aren't threatened by a new friend of a friend. They just widen their circle and take her in. It's not about competition, and we learn early on to compete with each other, and that's just absolutely not healthy. It's just something that we don't want to. That's one of the things that I see women continuing to do that they should have left behind a long time ago. And that hurts for me because I feel like we should be there to encourage each other and to make each other better. And instead, we're so busy fighting with each other that we're tearing each other down when we should be lifting each other up. And again, part of that is because we put pressure on ourselves to be friends with someone that maybe isn't supposed to be our friend. And that sounds a little harsh, but like I said earlier, God doesn't expect us to be intimately friendly with or have intimate friendships with everyone that we meet. There are different levels of intimacy and different levels of friendship, and if you try to push that with someone that you're not supposed to be close to, you're just both going to end up being hurt, and you could cause more damage than good. And so just be careful of that. If it's something that you're forcing and it just doesn't feel right, maybe you're forcing it. Maybe it's something that this person isn't supposed to be fill that role in your life at this time. Maybe later, but maybe your relationship with them could keep them from spending time with someone that is better for them, that would be a better fit. So don't put pressure on yourself that you have to be friends with everyone. Yes, you have to be friendly with everyone, but you don't have to let everyone intimately into your life just because they want intimately into your life. It's not always a healthy thing, so make sure that you can judge that. But again, be very inclusive. Don't leave people out, but you can set those healthy boundaries until you see where that relationship is supposed to go. And then the next one, the last one that we'll address tonight, and then we'll finish this chapter up next week, is that big girlfriends can come and go without pressure. Big girlfriends give one another a lot of space. If you're friends with someone who counts calls and keeps score on visits, you are connected to a little girl who needs to grow up in her relational understanding. And kind of like the friends I was talking about earlier that are so far away, she says we just have a knowing that we are a phone call away. We don't need a lot of assurances between us. There's no fear that the relationship will become less valuable or that our caring for each other will be less over time. We are friends. That was settled years ago, and that's just the way it is. And so, again, don't make sure that you build friendships that are healthy to the point that there's not a requirement of, okay, we have to spend this much time together. If I haven't called you in 3 days, it doesn't mean that I don't care about you anymore. It means I have a family. It means I have a job. It means I have other things. If you're with someone that's always reading into, why you're not together when you're not, then, and it could be as simple as a conversation and say, if you realize that someone's being hurt by the fact that you're not together all the time, just talk to them and say, hey, I still care about you. I just have been busy with this and that, and, let's get together so-and-so, or let's talk, or let's text, or whatever. I'm not saying just to write off someone that gets a little possessive. As long as you set those healthy boundaries, you can still be friends. So, do you guys have any questions about what we've covered so far with friendships? Like I said, I knew this one would take a couple of weeks because I didn't want to absolutely just run through everything. But I don't want to keep you on here as long as I want to talk about friendships. So just to recap tonight, basically, be careful how you talk to your friends. Be open and honest. Don't read into things. Make sure that you have an understanding. Just surround yourself with people that can handle you. As weird as that sounds. There are some personalities, you may have different personalities, whatever, but make sure that you fit and that you are honest about how you feel with each other. And, like I said, if it's hard, maybe that's not the person you're supposed to let in intimately, and it's okay. I know that we don't want to feel alone. We don't want to feel lonely, so we never want to push people away. Because, then what if there's not someone else? Well, there's someone else, because God knows what you need. And if you keep filling your life with people that you don't need, it's hard for those that you need to get in. And I feel like I've kind of talked in circles. I've been I guess because I'm trying to be careful about how I word things. But it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to let... It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to hang out with the people that you click with, that God has placed in your life. and it's okay to not get too close to people that you're not supposed to get too close to, even if they keep pushing. So I guess that's kind of the point of what I'm trying to say. So hopefully it's been helpful, and we've started a good conversation through this whole friendship thing, and we'll wrap this up next week. And if you have any, questions or whatever, again, message me. If you have my number, text me, call me, whatever. And we have a few more weeks, 3 or 4 weeks of this left, and then we'll decide. I don't know if we're going to keep going through the summer, like with another book, or if we're going to take a break or whatever we're going to do. But I will need some feedback on that. But, we may take a week and just, send me questions during the week, and we'll get those answered. I don't know. It's kind of hard to be interactive on this, but I think we're getting there a little bit, and I'm definitely open to comments and questions and whatever. And yeah, Wendy, absolutely, boundaries create a healthier relationship. And I think that it's almost like we've been pre-programmed that, oh, you have to love everyone. I'm like, yes, you have to love everyone, but you don't have to be best friends with everyone. Because if that's true, you really don't have a best friend. You have lots of friends. I don't know, it's one of my little pet peeves, I guess, of when people are, oh, this is my best friend, and that's my best friend. And no, they're probably not, because best is best. It's not everyone. So anyway, that's just a silly about me. But I love you guys, and we will finish this chapter up next week. And again, if you have questions, if this has made you think of something, if you want to have input, go ahead and send me a message. Like Tommy said, if you are being blessed through the studies or his teachings on Wednesdays and Sundays or whatever, we absolutely would love your support. We could use your help because we want to keep this going. I guess we kind of feel like missionaries at this point, so it's awkward for us to ever say, hey, support us, we need your money. But that's kind of where we are at this point. We're just kind of trying this thing that's new and seeing where it goes. And if you want it to keep going and it's something that you are supportive of, then, let us know. And we love you guys. Thanks for your time. And we'll finish up the friendships next week. Bye.